The bright lights of the space station hurt Dr. Kexithara's eyes as she looked at the reports about Earth's people. She was the best alien scientist who studied new species. Her job was to learn about different kinds of smart beings from across the galaxy. She had already studied over 300 different alien races. The humans looked normal to her. They walked on two legs like many other species. They had eyes in the front of their heads like hunters. Their brains seemed average. Nothing special about them at all. Just another hunting species, said Velnox, her helper. He was reading the data about human bodies. They have sharp teeth for eating meat and plants. Their eyes face forward for hunting. They should fit into our galactic family in about 50 years. Captain Jake Murphy stood in the big meeting room of the space station. The station was floating near a star called Proxima Centauri. Jake was from Earth's spaceship called Horizon. He had 12 crew members with him. Earth had picked these people very carefully. They were calm and good at talking to others. "We are happy to join your galactic community," Jake said. A special machine changed his words so all the aliens could understand him. Earth wants to be friends with everyone. Dr. Kexithara watched Jake carefully. She had special tools that could read his body signals. Most new species got very scared during first meetings with aliens. Their hearts beat fast and they sweated a lot. But Jake seemed calm and relaxed. This was strange. Lieutenant Amy Collins was the science officer on Jake's ship. She started talking about what humans had made. She told them about human medicine and machines. While Amy talked, Dr. Kexithara saw something weird in her readings. All the human crew members' brains started working in the same pattern when Amy spoke. "Look at this," Velnox whispered to Dr. Kexithara. "Their stress chemicals are going down when they are together." Dr. Kexithara made a confused face. Many hunting species worked in groups, but she had never seen brain patterns like this before. The humans' minds seemed to connect with each other in ways she did not understand. She wrote a note to watch them for longer. The first meeting ended well. Jake and his crew got rooms on the space station. They would stay for 2 weeks to learn about galactic culture. This was normal for new species. As the humans moved into their new rooms, Dr. Kexithara started watching them more closely. She put tiny cameras everywhere. She watched what they ate, how they slept, and how they talked to each other. The first day seemed normal. The humans explored the station and asked many questions about different alien species. On the second day, something interesting happened. Engineer Lisa Park was fixing a broken machine in the lower part of the station. The machine that cleaned the air had a leak. Poison gas was filling the hallway. Most aliens would die in minutes if they breathed it. "Lisa, get out of there now," Commander Pete Bailey said through his radio. "That gas will kill you." "Almost done," Lisa said back. "Just need 30 more seconds." Dr. Kexithara watched from her safe room above. She could not believe what she was seeing. Lisa knew the gas was dangerous. She knew she might die. But she kept working to fix the machine that helped everyone on the station breathe clean air. What shocked Dr. Kexithara more was that Lisa did not panic. Her heart was beating fast, but her hands stayed steady. She worked like a professional even while breathing poison. Then Pete Bailey did something even more strange. He put on a special suit and ran into the poison gas to help Lisa. Pete did not know how to fix machines. He could not help with the repair, but he went anyway. "Why are you going in there?" Dr. Kexithara asked him through the communication system. "Because Lisa is in there," Pete said simply. "We never leave our people alone." Dr. Kexithara felt cold fear run through her body. This made no sense. In nature, animals save themselves first. They might help family members or their own species, but only if it did not put them in danger. These humans were risking their lives for someone who was not even related to them. Lisa fixed the machine and both humans came out safely. But Dr. Kexithara's mind was spinning with questions. She had studied 300 species, and none of them acted like this. The next day brought more strange behavior. Communications officer Dan Wright got very sick from eating the station's food. His body was allergic to something in it. Most species would put him to sleep until he could get back to his home planet for treatment. But medical officer Kelly Adams did not do this. She stayed awake for 18 hours straight. She tested hundreds of different foods and medicines. She worked until she found something Dan could eat safely. She did this even though it would have been easier and safer to just put him to sleep. "Why did you work so hard?" Dr. Kexithera asked Kelly. "Sleep treatment would have been fine." "Dan is part of our crew," Kelly said. "We take care of each other." Dr. Kexithera started making detailed notes. These humans were not acting like any species she knew. They put the group's needs above their own safety. But it was more than that. They seemed to actually care about each other in ways that made no scientific sense. On day 5, she saw the most shocking thing yet. The humans were not just caring about other humans. Captain Jake was having dinner with Velnox. Jake was asking questions about Velnox's home planet and family. Jake seemed genuinely interested in Velnox as a person, not just as a work partner. Lieutenant Amy was spending her free time helping a Klaxon engineer with math problems. The Klaxon was from a different species entirely. Amy got nothing from helping him. She just did it because he asked for help. "They are trying to make friends with us," Velnox told Dr. Kexithera. "I have studied alien behavior for 40 years. I have never seen anything like this. They want to form emotional connections with species they just met." Dr. Kexithera realized she was witnessing something that could change everything. These humans were not just another species joining galactic civilization. They were something completely new, something that challenged everything scientists thought they knew about how intelligent species behaved. She started writing her report with shaking hands. What she had discovered about humanity would soon shock every corner of the galaxy. Day 7 on the space station brought the first real crisis. The water cleaning system in Section C broke down completely. Without it, that whole part of the station would become poisonous to breathe in just a few hours. All the aliens living there would have to move to other sections. Engineer Lisa Park looked at the broken machine with serious eyes. The problem was deep inside, where the most dangerous chemicals were stored. The repair would take at least 2 hours of working in a space filled with deadly gas. "We need to evacuate Section C," said Station Commander Zilkar, a tall alien with blue skin. "No one can survive in those chemical fumes." "I can fix it," Lisa said calmly. "I just need my protective suit and some tools." Dr. Kexithera watched from the control room. Her instruments showed that the chemical levels in Section C were already deadly. Even with a protective suit, working there for 2 hours was extremely dangerous. The suit could break or run out of clean air. "Lisa, this is too risky," Commander Pete Bailey said over the radio. "We can relocate everyone to other sections." "That means 47 beings will lose their homes on this station," Lisa replied. "Some of them have lived here for years. Their whole lives are in those rooms." What happened next made Dr. Kexithera's blood run cold. Lisa put on her protective suit and walked into the poison-filled section. But she was not alone. Commander Pete Bailey and Sergeant Tom Foster also put on suits and followed her. "We are not engineers," Velnox said, confused. "Why are Bailey and Foster going in?" Dr. Kexithera checked her readings. All 3 humans showed high stress levels but not panic. Their heart rates were up, but their hands stayed steady. They knew they might die, but they seemed determined to help others. Inside Section C, Pete and Tom could not help with the technical repair work, but they stayed with Lisa anyway. They handed her tools, held lights, and watched for dangers. When Lisa's air supply got low, Pete gave her his backup tank without being asked. "Why did you do that?" Dr. Kexithera asked Pete through the communication system. "Now you have less safety margin." "Lisa needs more time to finish," Pete said simply. "We are a team." The repair took 3 hours instead of 2. All 3 humans came out safely, but just barely. Their air supplies were almost empty. They had risked their lives to save the homes of 47 aliens they barely knew. Dr. Kexithera started making urgent notes. This behavior went against everything science knew about intelligent species. Animals were supposed to protect themselves first. Even the most social species only helped others when it benefited them somehow. 2 days later, another strange incident happened. A young Klaxon scientist named Hexalin was working on a very difficult math problem. He had been trying to solve it for months. It was important for his career, but he was stuck. Lieutenant Amy Collins saw Hexalin looking frustrated in the station's library. Amy did not know Hexalin well. They had only talked a few times. But Amy sat down next to him and asked what was wrong. "This mathematical proof is too hard," Hexalin said sadly. "If I cannot solve it, I will not get promoted. My family will be disappointed." Amy looked at the problem. It was not her area of expertise, but she understood the basic concepts. "Can I help?" she asked. For the next 6 days, Amy spent every free hour working with Hexalin on his math problem. She did not understand all of it, but she asked good questions and helped him think through different approaches. Dr. Kexithera watched this with amazement. "Amy gets nothing from helping him," she told Velnox. "Hexalin cannot help her career. He is not even the same species. Why does she care?" Velnox shook his head. "I have been watching her brain patterns. When Hexalin is happy about progress, Amy's brain releases the same chemicals that make her feel good. She is actually getting joy from his success." On day 12, something even more shocking happened. A small transport ship carrying 3 alien researchers broke down near the station. The ship was losing air slowly. The 3 beings inside would die in about 4 hours. Station rescue teams started planning a careful rescue mission. They needed to check the safety of their own ship, plan the best approach, and make sure they had all the right equipment. The rescue would take about 5 hours to organize properly. Captain Jake Murphy and Medical Officer Kelly Adams did not wait for the official rescue plan. They took a small emergency pod and flew directly to the broken ship. Their pod was not designed for rescue missions. It was meant for short trips between nearby stations. "Murphy, return immediately," ordered Station Commander Zilkar. "That pod cannot safely carry 5 beings." "We will make it work," Jake replied calmly. "Those people need help now." Dr. Kexthera watched in horror as the small pod docked with the damaged ship. Jake and Kelly managed to get all 3 aliens into their tiny craft. The pod was dangerously overloaded. One small mistake would kill everyone inside. The trip back to the station took 45 minutes. The pod's life support systems were never meant to handle 5 beings. The air became thin and hard to breathe. Jake and Kelly gave their own oxygen masks to the rescued aliens. When they finally docked safely, Dr. Kexithera ran to meet them. Jake and Kelly were barely conscious from lack of oxygen. The 3 rescued aliens were scared but alive. "Why did you risk your lives?" Dr. Kexithera asked Jake when he could speak again. "The official rescue would have been safer." "Those beings would have died waiting for the safe rescue," Jake said weakly. "We could not let that happen." Dr. Kexithara realized she was seeing a pattern that challenged everything she knew about evolution and psychology. These humans seemed to feel actual pain when others suffered. They got real happiness when others were happy. It was as if they could not separate their own well-being from the well-being of everyone around them. That night, she called an emergency meeting with Velnox and the other research scientists on the station. "I need to ask you all something important," she said. "In all your years of studying different species, have you ever seen behavior like this?" The room was quiet. Finally, old Dr. Mortex spoke up. He had studied alien behavior for over 60 years. "Never," he said slowly. "Most species help their own families, sometimes their own kind. But these humans seem to think every living being is part of their family." "It is impossible," said Dr. Yelnova. "Species that waste resources on strangers should have gone extinct millions of years ago. Natural selection should have eliminated this behavior." Dr. Kexithera looked around the room at her fellow scientists. "Then how do we explain what we are seeing? These humans are not just surviving with this behavior. They are thriving. Their species has become advanced enough to travel between stars, all while maintaining this extreme care for others." The room fell silent again. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but no one wanted to say it out loud. Finally, Velnox spoke what they were all thinking. "Maybe," he said quietly. "Everything we thought we knew about how intelligent species develop is wrong." Dr. Kexithera nodded slowly. She was beginning to realize that her report about humans would not just add another species to the galactic catalog. It would force every scientist in the galaxy to question the basic rules of evolution and psychology. The humans were not just different, they were impossible, and that impossibility was about to shake the foundations of galactic civilization. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council happened faster than anyone expected. Dr. Kexithera's report had reached the most important leaders of 12 different alien species. What she had discovered about humans was too big to wait for the regular meeting schedule. The Great Council chamber was filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Some came in person, others appeared as holograms from their distant homeworlds. Everyone wanted to hear about the humans who were breaking all the rules of nature. "The humans are not what we thought they were," Dr. Kexithera began. Her voice echoed across the huge room. "Our first assessment of them as a normal hunting species was completely wrong." She pressed a button and large screens around the chamber lit up. They showed brain scans of the human crew members. Colorful patterns moved across the images as different parts of their brains activated. "These are pictures of human brain activity during stressful situations," Dr. Kexithera explained. "Look at these areas here. When humans see other beings in pain or trouble, their brains react as if they are experiencing the pain themselves." Council leader Morden leaned forward in his chair. His translator made his words sound mechanical. "What exactly are you telling us, Doctor?" "I am saying that humans have evolved something that should not exist," Dr. Kexithera replied. "They feel genuine emotional pain when they see others suffering. This happens even if the suffering being is a complete stranger from a different species. It is built into their brains, not learned behavior." A wave of surprised voices filled the chamber. Representative Kixara from the hegemony stood up. She was a tall insect-like being with multiple arms. "Doctor, are you claiming that humans will risk their own lives to help complete strangers?" "Not just strangers," Dr. Kexithera said grimly. "They will risk their lives to help potential enemies." During our observation, Captain Murphy stepped between two Krillian diplomats who were about to fight. Krillians are known to attack anyone who interferes in their disputes. The screens changed to show video footage of the incident. Captain Murphy had walked directly between two large, aggressive Krillians. The readings showed that his body was producing fear chemicals, but he acted anyway. When we asked Captain Murphy why he did this, he said he could not watch someone get hurt. He had no knowledge of Krillian culture. He did not know if his interference would make things better, or worse. He just saw a potential fight and felt compelled to stop it. Velnox activated his own presentation system. Images of other incidents appeared on the screens around the room. We documented 23 separate cases of humans offering help, resources, or comfort to other species. They never asked for anything in return. They seemed to get satisfaction just from helping others. The chamber became very quiet. Every species represented in that room had developed through millions of years of evolution. They all followed the same basic rule. Take care of yourself and your family first. Help others only if it benefits you somehow. The humans seemed to completely ignore this fundamental law of nature. Dr. Kexithera continued her presentation. But there is something even more disturbing. The humans do not just help other species when asked. They actively try to form emotional connections with everyone they meet. Lieutenant Collins spent her free time learning Velnox's native language, not for any practical reason, but because she wanted to understand his poetry. She paused to let that sink in. They are trying to understand us not as potential allies, or threats or trading partners, but as individuals worthy of emotional attachment. This behavior has never been seen before in galactic civilization. Representative Zarkoth from the Trade Consortium raised one of his four arms. His species looked like large, intelligent lizards. "Doctor, what would happen if we allow this species full access to galactic society?" Dr. Kexithera looked at Velnox before answering. She had been dreading this question. "Based on our observations, humans will try to form emotional bonds with every species they encounter. They will interfere in conflicts that have nothing to do with them. They will offer aid to species that cannot possibly help them in return. And they will do all of this because their brains are wired to respond to suffering with action. The silence that followed was complete. No one moved or spoke. Finally, Council Leader Mordun asked the question everyone was thinking. Are you telling us that humans are psychologically incapable of rational self-interest? I am telling you that humans are the first species we have encountered whose primary drive is the welfare of others, Dr. Kexathera replied. This includes others they have never met and may never see again. By every measure we have for evaluating species, they are the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. The chamber exploded with confused and angry voices. Representative Kixara demanded clarification. Dangerous? They are helping everyone they meet. Dr. Kexathera's response would be remembered for generations. Exactly. They are so focused on helping others that they will try to change any system they encounter to reduce suffering and increase happiness for everyone involved. They cannot be bribed, threatened, or reasoned out of this behavior because it is not a choice. It is their nature. She activated one final display. If we allow them full access to galactic civilization, they will try to fix everything they see as unfair or harmful. They will not understand why some species are treated as inferior. They will not accept that some beings must suffer so others can prosper. They will work to change these things whether we want them to or not. The truth was spreading through the room like a shockwave. These humans were not just another species joining the galactic community. They were a force that could reshape the entire foundation of how different species interacted. Dr. Mortex, the oldest scientist in the chamber, slowly stood up. His voice was weak with age but clear. In 60 years of studying alien behavior, I have seen species that were aggressive, species that were peaceful, species that were logical, and species that were emotional. But I have never seen a species that cared more about others than themselves. Looked around the room at all the different alien representatives. The question we must ask ourselves is this: what happens to our carefully balanced galactic civilization when it encounters a species that thinks everyone deserves to be happy and safe? Young Dr. Yelnova from the Science Division stood up next. Our economic systems depend on some species having less than others. Our political systems depend on clear hierarchies of power. Our social systems depend on beings primarily caring about their own groups. If humans spread their influence, all of these systems could be disrupted. Representative Zarkoth nodded grimly. A species that helps others without expecting payment could destroy our entire trade economy. But Dr. Velnox had a different perspective. Or, he said quietly, they could show us a better way to live. The chamber fell silent again. Everyone was thinking about the same thing. For thousands of years, galactic civilization had been built on the assumption that intelligent beings were fundamentally selfish. Competition, hierarchy, and rational self-interest were considered the natural order. The humans had just proven that assumption wrong. And now every species in the galaxy had to decide what to do about it. Dr. Kexathera closed her presentation with one final thought. The humans are not trying to threaten us or change us. They are simply being themselves. But their true nature challenges everything we thought we knew about how intelligent life should behave. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after Dr. Kexathera's shocking report reached the Galactic Council, the effects were spreading through every part of civilized space. The truth about human psychology had split galactic society into different groups. Each group had very different ideas about what to do with these strange humans. The Trade Consortium, led by Representative Zarkoth, immediately tried to limit human access to important trade routes. We cannot allow a species with broken decision-making to influence our economy, Zarkoth announced during an emergency meeting. Their crazy desire to help everyone could destroy our entire business system. But other groups had different reactions. The Humanitarian Alliance, which had been a small political group before, suddenly became very popular. Species across the galaxy started questioning things they had always accepted as normal. Dr. Velnox had quit his job with the Galactic Council to join their research team. The humans have shown us something we thought was impossible, he explained, to a gathering of Alliance members. They have become advanced and successful while still caring deeply about everyone around them. Every scientific model says this should have made them extinct, but instead they are thriving. Captain Jake Murphy and his crew had become the most studied beings in galactic history. Every choice they made was recorded and analyzed by scientists from dozens of different worlds. The humans seemed confused by all the attention they were getting. "I do not understand what the big deal is," Lieutenant Amy Collins said to Dr. Kexisthera during one of their regular interviews. "We are just trying to be good neighbors. Is that not what everyone wants?" The simple way she said it had deep meaning. Dr. Kexisthera had spent months trying to understand human behavior through complex scientific theories about evolution and competition. The humans themselves saw their actions as basic politeness. The biggest changes were happening in the Outer Rim territories, where human trading ships had started making regular trips. Captain Steve Miller of the cargo ship Aurora had become famous throughout the galaxy when he changed course to help a broken Krillian transport ship. Krillians were known to be hostile to other species. They usually attacked anyone who came near their ships. But Captain Miller had seen them in trouble and immediately went to help. The ship was in danger, Miller had explained to shocked Krillian authorities. "We had the ability to help, so we helped." The incident resulted in something that had never happened before in galactic history. The Krillian vessel provided armed escort protection to Miller's ship for the rest of his journey. Scientists were struggling to explain how human behavior was actually changing the psychology of other species. Dr. Kixelara, who had taken over alien research after Dr. Kexthera retired, published a paper that sent new shockwaves through academic circles. The paper was called "How Human Behavior Spreads to Other Species." "We are seeing changes in how different species relate to each other in areas where humans are present," she wrote. "Species that have been enemies for thousands of years are starting to cooperate. Trade disputes that normally lead to wars are being solved through peaceful talks. The humans are not just participating in these changes, they are causing them." The hegemony had responded to these developments with growing fear. Representative Kixara had demanded strict limits on human expansion into hegemony space. "Their psychological infection threatens our established social order," she declared. "Species that have maintained stability through proper power structures are abandoning rational government in favor of emotional decision-making." But even within the hegemony, there was growing disagreement. Several member species had requested more human contact, citing better trade relations and fewer conflicts in colonies where multiple species lived together. The most surprising development came from an unexpected source. The Klaxon Collective, known throughout the galaxy for making all decisions based on pure logic, had requested a formal cultural exchange program with Earth. "We have observed that human emotional responses often lead to better outcomes than pure logical analysis," announced Klaxon Prime Logic Coordinator Hexlar. "This contradiction requires investigation." The request had stunned galactic civilization. The Klaxons were considered the most rational species in known space, yet they were openly admitting that human irrationality might actually be better than their own decision-making methods. As the first anniversary of human contact approached, Ambassador Susan Clark stood before the full Galactic Council to address the ongoing controversy. Her words would be remembered as a turning point in galactic history. "We know our behavior seems strange to you," she began. "We know that our willingness to help others, even when it costs us something, does not make sense according to your scientific models. But here is what we have learned from knowing all of you." She gestured toward the assembled representatives of dozens of different species. "Every single one of your civilizations has achieved remarkable things. You have built technologies we can barely understand. You have created art that moves us to tears. You have developed ways of thinking that have made our understanding of existence richer." The chamber was silent as she continued. "You have done all of this while maintaining social systems that prioritize efficiency and logic. But in all of your remarkable achievements, we have noticed something missing. You have optimized for survival, for efficiency, for rational use of resources. What you have not optimized for is happiness." Ambassador Clark activated a display showing statistical data from areas where humans had regular contact with other species. "These are measurements of what we call quality of life indicators: health, social satisfaction, creative output, and psychological well-being. In every region where humans have established regular contact, these indicators have improved for all species. The data was undeniable. Colonies with multiple species that included humans showed measurably higher satisfaction rates, lower conflict rates, and increased innovation. Even more remarkably, these improvements continued even when humans were no longer directly involved. "We are not trying to change your civilizations," Ambassador Clark concluded. "We are just being ourselves. And if being ourselves makes life a little better for everyone around us, then we think that is a good thing." The vote on humanity's full membership in galactic civilization was the closest in Council history. When the results were announced, 47 species voted in favor, 43 voted against, and 12 chose not to vote. As humans began to spread throughout galactic civilization, the long-term consequences of their unique psychology continued to unfold. Trade wars gave way to cooperative business ventures. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years found things they could agree on. The rigid power structures that had maintained order for generations began to evolve into more flexible, compassionate systems. Dr. Kexithera, now enjoying a peaceful retirement on a quiet colony world, received regular updates on humanity's impact on galactic civilization. Her final report, published after her death, contained a single conclusion that summarized the shocking truth about humanity. "We searched the galaxy for intelligent life and found hundreds of species capable of remarkable achievements. We found builders of great cities, creators of beautiful art, and thinkers who unlocked the secrets of the universe. What we never found, until we met the humans, was a species that cared more about others than themselves." In the end, the most shocking truth about humanity is not their desire to help others or their willingness to sacrifice for strangers. The most shocking truth is that they have shown us what we could become if we cared as much about each other as they care about everyone. The galaxy would never be the same.